Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden. We are setting up today for our 9th episode of our new podcast, This Week in Karting. It is April 29th, 2019. We're just a couple of days away from jumping on a plane and heading to Utah for the 3rd and 4th rounds of the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour. The Spring Nationals. I gotta get that right. It's the Spring Nationals. We're heading to Utah, Salt Lake City. Again, I say it's a new podcast, not really new anymore. Again, as I said, this is episode number 9 of This Week in Karting, where David Cole and I, who I'll introduce in a second, talk about all the stuff that's hit the homepage of EKN over the last couple of weeks. And in this case, the last month, as I believe our last episode was March the 20th, 2019. That was episode 8. This is the 23rd podcast total of our 2019 EKN Radio Network season. We're aiming to get to 100. I don't know if we'll do that or not, but we'll see. We get pretty busy mid-season, and we're not really in the studio that much, but we'll keep plugging away. Got some great stuff coming for you we'll talk about. But before I bring David in, let's talk about our presenting sponsor today, and that is Briggs Racing. Briggs & Stratton is powering Operation Grassroots around the world. Like no other engine manufacturer is getting new and returning drivers to the kart track like the Briggs 206. The out-of-the-box performance provides the most fun, excitement, and reliability of any karting engine on the global market. Learn more about the 206 engine and the history behind Briggs & Stratton's century-long commitment to motorsports at www.briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? All right, David Cole, we've had a couple of weeks here at home. We jump into a brand new week here. As I said, it is Monday, April the 29th. We're heading to Utah this weekend for the SCUSA Spring Nationals, the next stop on the SCUSA Pro Tour. But man, lots to talk about. We've been, over the last month, got a lot of stuff going up on the homepage of eKarting News.
Well, we had the dual weekend double, so that kind of, set things back a little bit with us catching up on everything. And so now that we've caught up, the travel schedule begins again. But thankfully, we're able to get in one This Week in Karting podcast before the month of April is over.
Yeah, we got the way it's This Month in Karting, essentially this
Pretty
time
much.
Around, right? This time around. We got a couple good podcasts in. We did the Operation Grassroots podcast with the KPX Championship Series. They ran this weekend. Cup Karts North America has their own Spring Nationals next weekend, this coming weekend. So essentially, Spring Nationals in Utah for SCUSA and at Concept Haulers Motor Speedway, Norway, Illinois, for the guys from Cup Karts North America. And I had a chance to talk with Greg Jasperson. But Dave, to kick off This Week in Karting, is we have a list of stuff that, as we said, made its way to the homepage of eKarting News and, of course, went out on our social media as well. Really, the first 4 segments we've got to talk about, really more about teams and drivers, if anything, as opposed to series, right? There's been some moves. Some drivers got released. People got hired. Other drivers coming in to run for teams. A lot of really cool driver news, I think, in the last month.
Well, it's silly season, but it's April. Typically, we talk about this, in December, which we did. We talked about it with Garrison. We talked about it with Norberg, a few other drivers as well. But, it just seemed to be that between episodes of This Week in Karting, we had some major announcements regarding drivers changing positions.
Yeah, first news actually dropped at the end of March 26th, when Mad Old Nut Racing Croc Promotion USA released news that they had parted ways with AJ Myers, the national #1 driver in the country. He had got off to a great start to the season and really kind of helped fuel, I think, a lot of awareness and brand awareness for Croc Promotion. He won, 6 races over 9 events. To start 2019, the SCUSA Winter Series Championship. He scored the Rok Cup Florida Winter Tour Championship in the shifter kart category as well. So that was big news. That was obviously massive news. But David, didn't take long for Mad Old Nut Racing to find someone to kind of hop into his seat when 2017 SCUSA Pro Tour champion Jake French signed with them just 4 days later, March the 30th. And I was actually down at a Texas Pro Kart Challenge event when the news actually broke, and had a chance to do a Facebook Live with Jake from North Texas Kartway in Denton. And, they've done some testing. French made his debut at the LAKC opener, and he's prepped and ready to go for Spring Nationals this weekend. I think it's an interesting storyline that we'll be able to follow throughout the coming weekend in Utah.
It's very interesting because, again, as you said, Myers won SCUSA Winter Series. He won the Florida Winter Tour, and he won at the Winter Nationals, the SCUSA Pro Tour Winter Nationals. So he was part of a Croc Promotion, Matt Old Nut Racing sweep of the wins in Pro Shifter, with Andrew Budozo winning on Saturday and then Myers on Sunday. So, for Myers to go out on top, I mean, he basically did. He won his last race with Croc Promotion. But you move forward, to the new with Jake French. He was probably the most available free agent, probably most talented free agent that there is out there, without grabbing somebody from another team. French was kind of just sitting there, more focused on RC cars. Really, he's doing very well, doing his RC car stuff, very successful. And then obviously Mark and Gina have kind of geared towards more of the promotion side of everything with P1 Promotions and the Texas Pro Kart Challenge. So Jake's kind of taken a back seat on driving, but so to be able to find a new home for Jake is really good. And I'm sure he's going to be among the top contenders in Spring Nationals this weekend.
Yeah, that's why I say it's such a great storyline. You're right. Jake had just left working for Dallas Karting Complex, DKC. He was focused on the RC stuff, as you said. And he even told me in the the interview we did on Facebook Live that he wasn't really sure if he wanted to get back into full-time racing, but then was wrenching for some guys, and he was with wrenching for Crosslink when I was there that weekend in Texas. And he was like, starting to itch maybe to get back behind the wheel. And Mark French was dying to get back on the wrenches, his dad. And I think the timing just kind of worked out that they were able to connect up, and he jumped on board. I know the guys from Croc Promotion USA and Mad Old Nut Racing, very, very happy with French and how he's approached the program. Now, David, it didn't take long. So, of course, they signed French and announced it on March 30th. Not even 2 weeks later, AJ Myers lands at a big team.
Sorry. Yeah, he does. He does. It was kind of the first thought of, where AJ Myers would go. Yeah. And it ended up being CRG Nordam, and kind of, reuniting with a Florida guy, and Tony Tesoro, who's now the CRG Nordam team manager. So it's kind of a good mix. Both Florida guys, they know, Tesoro has known AJ for a very long time, knows what he's capable of. And just adding the number 1 plate to CRG Nordam to go along with Kyle Wick and the number 2 plate. So those two guys under the same tent going to the Spring Nats this weekend is going to be very exciting for them.
And additionally, for Myers, kind of interesting that, there was talk that he potentially could run a couple of races in Europe as well with the factory team, which I think was really cool for AJ Myers. A guy who just was wrapping up his season or his year at mechanical engineering in college, and with the summer off, maybe get a chance to go run with the big dogs. That'd be interesting to watch, I think.
Well, yeah, but with the CRG Nordam operation being an actual factory run team, it definitely makes sense. I mean, we don't see a lot of that going on. I think maybe PSL Karting is maybe the only one that really has that very strong connection to the factory regarding moving drivers over to Europe if they ever needed to or wanted to. It's a lot of times you just see guys just going over on their own, and they hook up with a European team. And we see that an awful lot because sometimes some of the just European teams are a little bit sometimes stronger than the factory teams themselves. So it'd be interesting to see what happens if he does indeed go over there, because we know he's done well racing against the top drivers, being a podium finisher in KZ category in 2014 at the Super Nationals.
Yeah, that was kind of, at that point, AJ Myers hadn't really qualified to get his A license to run in the S1 Pro Shifter class yet, because he hadn't really run any SCUSA races. Of course, the KZ class at the Super Nats is available to A and B license holders. He comes in as a B license holder, does so well, and of course gets signed off at that point to run S1 the following year. Dave, in keeping with the announcement of teams rolling out new drivers, specifically focused on the Spring Nationals, cool information from Crosslink Competition, that team out of Texas, which has really kind of taken the world by storm with Joshua Carr. They've been winning on the Texas Pro Kart Challenge. They won at the most recent RTX Karting All-Star Finals in Houston, the Rotax program. I'm talking about Crosslink Competition, and they announced that Braden Eves will be running with them for the remainder of the Pro Tour. I'm not sure how many other races he'll be doing. He's a a little busy right now. Current point leader in the Road to Indy Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, running with Cape Motorsports, but got a couple of weekends off, the ones specifically to run the Pro Tour. And David, you've talked a lot about and written a lot about Braden Eves in the past. This is the guy that knows how to win Pro Tour races. Simple as that.
Yeah, he's won 3 times on the Pro Tour, 2 Spring Nats, twice at the Spring Nats, and then once at the Summer Nationals. He's a WKA champion as well. Won races obviously there, won races at USPKS competition as well. So he definitely was, before he moved on to the car, was among the top rated karters in the country for sure. So to see him come back, it's probably good just to kind of keep the blood flowing, keep the competitive fire under him, because, he started out the season very strong in St. Pete, as you said, coming out as a points leader with 2 victories. So he's definitely going to want to keep that momentum going, especially into the month of May.
Interesting for crosslink competition as well. They get 1 win, I believe the point lead right now with Joshua Carr in the X30 senior class. And then you look at some of the other drivers. Michael Alavia was very, very good as well in the Pro Shifter 2 class. They're coming off some pretty good runs with Adrian Cruz and Ryan Sheehan in Texas.
Derek Wang ran under the tent and will be there too in Spring Nats.
Exactly.
As well.
We confirmed that he will indeed be back with them again, which is great. So yeah, look for them to have a couple of point leaders. They've got guys looking good for race wins. So, crosslink competition, I don't want to say it's kind of like the evolution of DKC, the Dallas Karting Complex crew, because it's not really, but it's, Sean Owens running the program, but they're on the Esprit chassis. It's a solid team, and I think we're going to see them win more races. David, let's wrap things up with this particular segment where we talk about drivers being announced. This really isn't an announcement for a driver coming to a team for the Spring Nats. It's something new, and we're talking about Luca Mars.
Yeah, Luca Mars is going to be the representative for the United States of America at the FIA Karting Academy Trophy Program. This is the 10th season for the international program, where they basically bring a driver from every country on a little arrive and drive. This year, they have 51 drivers from 47 different countries.
Wow.
All racing aboard the Esprit with Vortex OK Junior engines. It's, basically an arrive and drive where they come there. Everything's provided for them. They actually even switch engines and carburetors and this and that throughout the weekend with other drivers. So it's a very unique opportunity. We've had some driver blogs before with Colin Queen and a couple of other drivers who have taken part in it. But Luca's going to be the sole representative for USA. Justin Arsenault will actually represent Canada. This will be the first year that Canada will have a driver in the trophy program, Academy Trophy program. And ironically, Luca Mars and Justin Arsenault are teammates under the Speed Concepts Racing tent when they're here in the United States.
2 great drivers, definitely to represent both the USA and Canada. That should be very interesting. And again, we'll keep an eye, as we did last year with Colin Queen. We'll make sure that we follow the performances and the adventures of Luca Mars as he runs this year in the FIA Karting Academy Trophy. Again, episode number 9 of This Week in Karting, April 29th. Rob Howden alongside David Cole as we present to you the news in podcast form of all the info that kind of worked its way to the homepage of ekartingnews.com. And of course, from there out to our social media outlets on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Stay with us, folks. More to come. When we come back after this break, we're going to talk a little bit about Rok Cup, both here and abroad. We're talking about some racing down in Texas. We got WKA info, and we got some info from the USPKS as well. Stay with us. More to come on This Week in Karting. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Cometic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Cometic can operate on the fly and has a unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Cometic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Cometic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Cometic can tailor to engine builder-specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Cometic gaskets are must-haves for championship-winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Cometic gasket, sealing championships since 1989. The shift is on to a new brand and a new way of thinking. Mad Old Nut Racing and Rok Promotion USA are focused on changing the paradigm when it comes to race teams in this sport. And the goal is to support dedicated young racers by giving them the tools and opportunities to succeed. Originally born as Mad Croc, the new branding is Rok Promotion, and Armando Fellini's product continues its dedication to quality and innovation. Rok Promotion USA is the American importer and distributor, and Mad Old Nut Racing is the official race team. We're ready to attack in 2019, and our race results speak for themselves. AJ Myers swept the first 4 Winter Series shifter kart races of the year, and Andrew Bedozzo continues to assert himself as an emerging player. Rok Promotion has momentum. Dedicated and talented young drivers, supported and mentored by team owners who know business and who are passionate about karting. That's Rok Promotion USA. That's Mad Old Nut Racing. Search for us on social media and give us a follow. Welcome back to episode number 9 of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, and we are working our way through what is almost 3.5 pages worth of notes here, because a lot of stuff going since the last time we did This Week in Karting. It's really been kind of this month in karting, because last time we did it was late March, and here we are now in late April. We'll try to speed that up, but as David said, we came off our kind of crazy dual weekend double-double where we covered 4 races, live coverage on all 4 of them on 2 consecutive weekends. David and I swapping coasts. It was a crazy time, but fun for sure. David, let's jump into the next little bit here right now. You know, I've got it ingrained in my head, the Rok Cup International Final. I've been saying that for many years. I had a chance to announce the race on a couple of occasions at South Garda, but they've rebranded it. And I think, you know, this news obviously probably a little more, maybe more poignant for the American karting community now, simply because of the fact that the Rok Cup program is growing. You know, Challenge the Americas turning into a Rok Cup program, so we'll see a lot more American and Canadian, let's say North American drivers heading over to this fantastic race. Yeah,
I think it was somewhere around the number of maybe 20 drivers last year from either United States or representing USA, winning a ticket here through Florida Winter Tour, or as you said, Challenge the Americas. But yeah, the event now entering its 17th edition when it hits this October at South Garda Karting in Lonato, Italy, will be the Rok Cup Super Final. So just one word, super final. So not international final. So it kind of helps on those digits for making trophies where you have a little less digits. So, but it's the super final.
Twitter characters too, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Easier to hashtag, easier and everything. So it does save a little space there. But how would you say that? How would you say that if you were announcing super final?
Super final. That's if I'm announcing with Yannick Sturzel, of course, right? Yeah. I love it. That's a great event. Now, David, one of the things about that race, and it's interesting because I don't know, I think it's the same weekend again this year as the IAME International Final.
Yes.
God, it's tough. But you end up with like 800 people, almost 800 drivers almost racing on those 2 weekends. Of course, you know, the IAME engine, the X30 and the like, and the Rok with such great global followings. Over 400 drivers, as you said, David, almost over 20 here from North America, at least from North American karting. Some, of course, race under their own country's banner when they go to the event. Categories: mini, junior, senior, super, shifter, expert, and expert plus on the docket. And as you said before, too, tickets handed out at the Challenge of the Americas, Florida Winter Tour, and I think they're handing out some at Rockfest in Biloxi as well, I believe, right?
Yeah, the upcoming Rockfest Battle at the Beach in Biloxi will be one of the last chances to actually get tickets to the internet or the super final. Sorry, see, I almost said it.
You did. That's awesome.
But yeah, and as you said, that 400 drivers, it's almost half are in like the mini category, which makes it really interesting event because you got so many different flights and heat races, and they try and combine it all, and everything's done on Saturday. It's not done on Sunday, so everything's done on Saturday, which is another unique aspect to the event. So really an interesting event, and I hope to go one day. I know, as you said, you've been there a couple of times already.
It's a tremendous event, and they just do such a great job putting it on. And you're right, the competition at that track, South Garda, of course, one of the legendary, iconic tracks in Europe for kart racing, and it's one of those events that, again, there's no, unlike the Super Nationals where there's LCQs, you run your heat races, and then you're B and A essentially, right? There's the A final and the B final, and we've had we saw some. I think it was Emma Delatra, I believe, won the B final last year. The main event is truly an absolute battleground to run up front, and the guys starting further in the back have to get aggressive, and there's a lot of hairpins at that track, so it kind of gets a bit ugly. But David, speaking of Rockfest in Biloxi, as we said, the final opportunity, or at least one of the final opportunities likely this year, if not the final, to win a ticket to the super final. They're adding Briggs 206 as well. Good to have that extra category. They ran some 206 at the Florida Winter Tour, and I think liked it. They threw it out there. They've confirmed that they're going to run the 206 program. Talk a little bit more about the Briggs 206 category running at the Battle at the Beach.
Yeah, again, the Battle at the Beach is going to be at Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi, a brand new facility. This will actually be the first ever karting event, aside from rental kart stuff that they do in the corporate parties and bachelor parties and birthday parties and all that stuff, where they actually have two circuits. They have an actual racetrack, and then they have the rental kart track where they have the opportunity to do both. But so Briggs and Stratton categories are joining the event with the Rok Cup USA categories. It'll be Briggs 206 Junior and Briggs 206 Senior joining in on the weekend. The Briggs winners will actually receive a free entry to the Rock the Rio with a Vortex VLR 100cc engine to use to race in either the junior category or senior category.
Nice. Again, getting guys to potentially jump up from Briggs to the quicker Vortex VLR power plant. I had a chance to drive one at the Challenge of the Americas finale on a Burrell, thanks to Andy Saisman and Jimmy Gregory. Fantastic engine, the 100cc program, and obviously both of the engine manufacturers. Just such a great engine, and it'll be interesting to see who heads down to that event. But David, let's talk a little bit. We did mention that there's tickets coming at Rockfest. I think you have them written down here. Let's detail actually what tickets or entries are up for grabs at the Battle at the Beach.
Well, the winners at the Battle of the Beach will receive in the following categories: Mini, Junior, Senior, Masters, Shifter, and Shifter Masters will all receive Rok Cup Super Final tickets to compete over in Italy. So those categories, the top prize will be that ticket. For Micro, Junior 100cc, and Senior 100cc, those winners will receive tickets to Rock the Rio for winning that category. And then also in those categories that have the Super Final ticket, second and third will win tickets to the Rock the Rio event as well. So very interesting prizes. And as you said, some of the teams that will be there, PSL Karting just announced they'll be down there. So obviously the event's drawing in some of the bigger teams already.
We'll see. Again, one of the things we've talked about is whether or not they're going to have a lot of room for all these people that are coming in. But I'm sure that Garrett Potter will have things figured out, closing down some streets or whatever it may be to turn it into to turn it into paddock. So again, great stuff happening with Rok Cup USA. Again, talking about the new Super Final, the newly rebranded Super Final, and of course the Rockfest Battle at the Beach, May 30th to June the 2nd at Finish Line Performance Karting in Biloxi, Mississippi. Go a little bit west from Biloxi, Mississippi, and a couple of weeks later, and that's June the 14th, 15th, 16th. If you're a 206 driver or a IME KA100 driver and you want to go down to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, and get on that brand new karting facility, well, we talked about Mark and Gina French and how they're focused a lot on their P1 promotions program. Well, David, they will be hosting a 3-day race, the K-Lo Cup, on the Circuit of the Americas kart track. In the KA100 category, it's going to be senior, junior, and master. Briggs 206, senior, heavy, junior, and cadet. Pretty good price, too. $400 for all 3 days. You get a set of race tires, one driver pit pass. They're racing on the Avinco Blue H tire. That's the spec tire for the program. I know that Mark and Gina are wheeling and dealing, trying to do some cool stuff in terms of race format. They want to come up with a couple cool things for the format. They're still working on that, I think. I'm not sure if they've even totally confirmed it yet. But it's a pretty cool race, Dave. We're getting a chance to run at the Circuit of the Americas. This kart track, it's not like it's in the back of the track somewhere. It's not hidden somewhere. It's like on the front. It's just outside the front straightaway at Circuit of the Americas. As soon as you drive into the facility, it's right there.
It is right there. And I think more so than the event format, I think the price point is amazing. I mean, think about it. $400 includes a set of tires, plus you're on track 3 days. Now that's less than $100 to be on track every day. And you're going to, I mean, the lap, the cost per lap is going to be minimal. To be almost next to nothing, really, because they're going to emphasize lap after, massive amounts of laps, especially on Saturday when they're probably doing a bunch of heat races. And then obviously, you're probably going to have some long main finals on Sunday, not to mention all the practice you receive on Friday. So the cost per lap is just going to be next to nothing. And
David, I think cool as well is the 7-class structure. It's not like there's 12 categories. It's 7 classes. It's 4 classes in 206. It's 3 classes in KA100. This is going to be one of those focused programs, hence the name, the Kalo Cup. I love it. I think it's a really cool program. And again, I'm excited about what Coda Karting can do in terms of bringing new people into the sport. They've got the Margay Ignite program down there. They've got their rental kart program as well. So ideally, they'll be trying to move guys from the rental kart program, excite them enough to get into the Margay Ignite package. Once they get there, we're just going to add new racers to the state of Texas. David, you're one of obviously the expert on the WKA Manufacturers Cup program and all things WKA. You spent some time as a trustee and got a chance to have that experience and put some time and some effort back into the sport. But the WKA announcing the name of their Charlotte event, I think there's going to be a lot of buzz around this race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but I'll let you kind of handle this one here. Pretty cool that they got the name there. We got the logo out, the date set. It's going to be a pretty cool weekend, I think, down in Charlotte.
The weekend is June 21 through 23, and the event is labeled the Charlotte Motor Speedway WKA Karting Challenge. That is the official name of the event, as WKA is working directly with the Charlotte Motor Speedway on promoting this event. Now, it's kind of like your North American karting championships that we had in the late 90s. I don't think we had any in the early 2000s, so I think it was all in the late 90s. But with Manufacturers Cup Series racing inside, now not the original sprint track that some of the old people that are listening in have been on. But, I shouldn't say old because, some of the cadet kids that raced it are now racing Indy cars like Sage Karam and stuff like that.
Exactly, so. Yeah.
And Graham Rahal, I believe Graham Rahal raced inside on Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll have to ask him that.
We will. You're right.
So Manufacturer Cup Series is going to be racing on part of that Roval course. So they're taking up some of that infield road course to make up a sprint track. The National Road Racing Series is going to go back to Charlotte and probably since the late 90s. So it's been a very long time since they've been there. They're going to be racing on a revised part of the Roval, including all of the oval, including that little niche, that little cutout there on the at the tri-oval part. So that'll be interesting to see how that progresses. And then Speedway Dirt is going to be racing over at the dirt track across the street where you see the World of Outlaws racing. Now it's not the full size. Now it's not the full size track, but they got some really good track guys that are going to be working in a revised circuit inside the dirt track. But still, just to be able to sit in those grandstands and to watch karting going around there under the lights will be very cool to see, especially coming over from the sprint track. So. Class structures are all set for the sprint dirt program because, that's always kind of changing here and there. Obviously, Man Cup is all set. Their season continues in a couple of weeks. And then registration is going to be opening up Memorial Weekend for the event. So lots going on for that.
Dave, I believe that they just put something out. Was it today on social media that they're looking for, the 206
I think they're
guys.
trying to get a commitment because, again,
exactly.
if they're not going to have enough drivers for this category, which will be a one-off category for the event, it helps free up the schedule. So obviously they're trying to get commitment for drivers to come and race this category. That's going to be a one-off class. They've done it before at other events. Before KA was actually part of the program, they had KA classes as local option classes. Well, this event, they're going to have a Briggs 206 senior class. So,
and I saw some chatter, of course, on some of the Facebook posts. I think they'll be able to get enough guys to go run that event. It's going to be a cool, big event. You're running inside the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hopefully people will step up. But as David said, registration officially opening on the Memorial Day weekend. David, this is kind of, I don't want to say it's a little late, but it's not late, but you got things underway with the opening round of the United States Pro Kart Series down in Ocala. They were able to confirm their 2019 prize package, and it's a stunning one for sure. No doubt about that.
Yeah, well, it's a little late because we're getting our show out late, and we could have had this recorded before their season opener down there in Ocala, Florida. But we do want to give the props to the United States Pro Kart Series for putting together an $80,000 prize package for the 2019 season. Part of that package is going to include a cash purse in the X30 Pro and X30 Junior categories, $4,500 for each category, with a top driver who earns the most points on the weekend, taking home $2,500, along with all three taking home a set of MG tires. That's
serious. That's some pretty serious cash. $2,500 is good dough.
As Austin Garrison said, it'll probably buy him a new radio system for his boat. So, yeah, it's pretty good cash.
Not too bad. Miami International Final tickets up for grabs as well with the USPKS and X30 Pro, Junior, Masters, and Mini. What else we got? The USPKS Winner's Circle for Micro, KA100 Junior, and KA100 Senior. David, can you give us some more info on that?
Well, what they do, the USPKS does for their awards, because not everybody wants what the champion gets. So the champion actually has the opportunity to select the three different prizes in his category. He gets first pick on whichever of the three prizes he wants. So
I like that.
If he doesn't want to take the IAME International Final ticket, he has the opportunity to either take the IAME engine package that's in his category, or he has the opportunity to take a winner's circle. That's for X30 Pro, X30 Junior, X30 Masters, and Mini Swift. Say you're in Micro, K100, or K100 Senior, then the opportunities are the USPKS Winner's Circle, the IAME engine package, or a single event entry to next season. So
what's the Winner's Circle? Is it the full season?
The Winner's Circle is a full season for the next year. Yep. So it's very similar to what the Circle of Champions is for Susan.
Copy. Got it. I like it. Great stuff again from Mark Coates and the crew at USPKS for sure.
Yeah, so that it's a very unique opportunity, because last year they had a couple of drivers take like the IAME International Final ticket and then not use it. So that hopefully that eliminates that type of scenarios where guys are going to use what they take.
I think it's a great call. Why not, right? It gives the opportunity if the champion wants the engine, he can take the engine. All right, folks, another quick break here. We come back. David and I are going to talk a little bit about the Briggs Weekly Racing Series. We're going to talk a little bit about the Quincy Grand Prix and TNT Kartways with Hoosier Tire. Stay with us. More to come on episode number 9 of This Week in Karting. Joining the Rawlson Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and former Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. Rawlson Performance Group is setting a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in the IAME X30 categories. We have the largest trackside OTK inventory, providing parts to racers and teams at all the major events in North America. RPG can also offer multilingual support, as we have French and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships, or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. Rotax is officially back in America, and J3 Competition is the iconic brand's new importer and distributor for the northern half of the United States. With a focus on top-notch customer service and unparalleled product support, J3 Competition is excited to work with club and regional series to build the Rotax community in the tag categories. They're promoting a pair of special events this year to provide opportunities for their racers to win tickets to the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals in Italy, the sport's most talked about global event. The Stars and Stripes Trophy and the Stars and Stripes Open events will feature J3 Competition's trademark professionalism, as well as the popular engine raffle program to provide a completely level playing field. With tickets to this year's Grand Finals up for grabs, they look forward to seeing everyone at the trophy event in May in Utah and for the Open in August at Pit Race. Rotax is a leader in two-cycle technology, and J3 Competition brings over 75 years of experience to the brand here in the United States. Check out the new Rotax USA program at racerotax.com. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, whether you're listening here on the stream, the live stream on EKN Radio, or potentially listening to the downloaded podcast that you have on iTunes. We thank you so much for subscribing to the EKN Radio Network. David Cole and Rob Howden here. It is April the 29th, 2019. We're looking forward to heading out on Thursday, bound for Salt Lake City, Utah, and the SCUSA Spring Nationals, round 3 and 4 of their Pro Tour. But David, let's talk a little more kind of about Operation Grassroots right now in this particular segment of This Week in Karting. The Briggs Weekly Racing Series program confirmed for 2019. I know that you've been working your tail off for the last 2 months doing all the profiles of the top performers from 2018, but they've got things locked and loaded for 2019.
Yep, they're all set, coming back for a fourth season, increasing the prize package this year by over 25%, going up to now $59,000 in prizes handed out, a total of 300 prizes in total, totaling up to $59,000.
You know, they just do it right. This is when it comes to like grassroots club level racing, right? It's hard to put something together that will award club racers and kind of have them to a certain extent racing against each other, even though they're in different countries or different parts of Canada or the U.S. And Briggs has done such a great job with his weekly racing series. You know, Briggs putting up the stuff they do, generators, whatever it may be. New partners, our partners involved as well, Inferno Racing Clutches, RLV, Amsoil. David, just a lot of great stuff going on.
Well, it's an opportunity for, as you said, for not only just bragging rights, but the opportunity to claim being the top driver in either your country or North America, period. You had your top Canadian with John Buzo. You had the top overall driver with Eric Fagan. So it's very cool to see. And then, so along with the bragging rights and the opportunity to tout yourself as a national driver, nationally ranked driver is just, as you said, racing against and trying to come up with a better ranking than a driver from another club that you might know. So it's a very cool deal and great partners behind it with Inferno Racing Clutches, RLV, Amps Oil, and Snapper is one of the products that Briggs and Stratton produces.
Nice. Moving along with more of This Week in Karting, as I said, all this news that made its way to the homepage of ekartingnews.com, and then from there pushed out through our social media channels. David, some news, and we're kind of seeing this thing happen. It's this momentum for Hoosier Tire, obviously having now Margay as their distributor. Quincy Grand Prix is going to Hoosier Tire. TNT Kartways as well going to Hoosier Tire. We've seen a couple other tracks, 61 Kartways, I believe, onto the Hoosier Tire. Let's talk a little bit about that as Hoosier really starting to work their way into the grassroots level of the sport.
Yeah, they've always been part of the grassroots air section of motorsports, along with many of the car programs that they're involved in. With obviously it's road racing and oval racing and dirt stuff. Hoosier's always been about grassroots level, and that's what I kind of think is great with the partnership that they've created with Margay Racing, because Margay's really been focused on that grassroots level of racing over the last probably 5 years, but really throughout its inception. Margay's been a very big proponent of grassroots racing. And so one of the big key events that they've hooked onto is the upcoming Quincy Grand Prix. Obviously, it's a very close event to Margay, not only business-wise, but I think emotionally, because we know Keith Freber has a very loving heart for this event.
Oh, no doubt about that. And again, I'm going to have an interview. Actually, we have an interview, a print interview coming out with Terry Trader from the Quincy Grand Prix to kind of give us some updates on what they've got going on. We're going to also, before we get to the event in June, we're going to make sure that we do one of our podcasts with Terry as well, talking more about the Quincy Grand Prix. David, give us some input on the actual tire compounds. Which tires are they going to be running for each category?
Well, all Briggs and Yamaha categories will be on the R60B compound at the Quincy Grand Prix. The 125 shifter division will be on the R55. And of course, the Ignite programs are on the new R80 tire.
TNT Cartway's moving to the Hoosier tire as well in June. They've kind of got the season started already. So in June, they will move to the Hoosier tire. All classes will be on that R60B that David had mentioned, except, of course, for the Ignite program, Margay Ignite, which runs that R80. It's interesting, David. I've run Hoosier tire before. I've run it on a stock car. I've run it on my Formula V. They were part of my Formula V project car I put together for Formula Car Magazine, but I've yet to drive it on a kart. I think you have, but I haven't.
I did.
Right?
I got to sample it at the Rock Island Grand Prix with TB Kart Indy and Hardin Motorsports Group down there in Indiana. It was to go from that and the old Bridgestone YDS tire that Margay has run on their Ignite program for a long time. It's a big jump. Let me tell you that. It's very similar to the MG Yellows in terms of grip. Because I didn't get the longevity, obviously only going 15 laps in a race. So you don't really know, what the tire does after 15 laps, but throughout the 15 laps, I was stuck like a pig to the cement. So it was definitely something I wasn't used to. I was really used to sliding through the corners rather than actually having grip and having to, steer away from the apex of the corner because I turned in too early. So it's definitely a lot of grip with that tire. So it's really good for probably the Yamaha and Briggs categories. And again, we'll find out longevity once we actually get to race it a little bit more this coming year. Well,
we'll see what happens at the Battle of the Brickyard. I'm gonna try to work my way into a Margay Ignite ride. I know you've had a bunch of rides with them at the Rock Island Grand Prix, but I want to get behind the wheel of an Ignite at Indianapolis. We'll see if we can.
Well, that would be interesting to see what the R80 does, because that's obviously the different compound, the newer compound that they come out with, and compare that to what the YDS does. I've obviously heard things about it already, a lot of positive things about it, but until, like you said, until you drive it, you don't really know what it feels like and what it does.
Exactly that. All right, folks, one more break here in This Week in Karting. We'll come back and David and I will kind of review some of the stuff that's been happening on ekartingnews.com, on the EKN podcast lineup, the radio network, give you kind of an update on what's available to you now, what we've got coming up in terms of EKN radio network, and just a really good overview of the content that we have available now and we'll be pushing out over the next couple of weeks. Stay with us. More to come. Final segment of This Week in Karting up next. Are you ready to go racing? Trinity Karting Group is fired up and ready to take up that challenge. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives them access to their custom-designed driver training facility. This allows them to offer private one-on-one coaching that can take you to the next level. They're also a Midwest dealer for Tony Kart and IAME, and they are your source for MG and Avinco tires in the region. They'll be trackside at the SCUSA Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge, the USPKS, the USAC Battle of the Brickyard, and of course, the KRA Series at Newcastle Motorsports Park. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with the customer service that is second to none. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and they're dedicated to driver development. They take pride in their professional approach and their positive attitude. Let them build a custom race program for you. Give them a call at 513-421-4463 or check them out online at trinitykartinggroup.com.
This is Randy Kugler, voice of the Quincy Grand Prix. South Park will come alive June 8th and 9th with over 15,000 spectators and some of the best kart racers from all over the country. Great partners such as Margay Racing and Hoosier Tires make this a racing experience like no other. Karting legends Scott Pruitt, Terry Trader, and Randy and Rick Folks have some of their biggest racing accomplishments at this prestigious event. Race fans will be on their feet as the competitors will battle for the coveted Gussie Award, named after the event's founder, the late Gus Trader. This year's event will be more fan-friendly than ever, with Wi-Fi throughout the park, more vantage points to view the excitement, more concessions, and even a greater selection of merchandise and souvenirs. The place to be, June 8th and 9th, the Quincy Grand Prix. Karting's Formula One of street racing, where legends are made. Let's do it in the park this year. For more information, visit our website at quincygrandprix.com.
Welcome back to episode number 9 of This Week in Karting here on the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. Those of you who have downloaded the EKN Radio Network app to your mobile device, we thank you for that. We really appreciate it. Tell your friends. Make sure they do it as well. Any content that we put out, audio-wise, first comes on the EKN Radio Network. We make sure we run it maybe for a full day, and then we'll intersperse it with other stuff over the coming days. You'll see that happening throughout this week coming up here as well. But the great way to get everything is obviously through the EKN Radio Network, whether it's on your phone, whatever mobile device, tablet you may have at home. You can access it as well, of course, on the website at ekartingnews.com/radio. That's always 24/7, 365, all the content that we put out. David, you are the managing editor at ekartingnews.com, so I'll give you a chance to kind of talk about the editorial that you were able to push out. I helped a little bit with some stuff, but you did primarily most of the work here, so I'll let you handle it.
Yeah, as we've said, it's been a month since we've done our show, so there's been a number of editorial stuff that we put up on the website. We'll start with stuff that you've done, which is part of the race reports. During our dual weekend double, we had WKA. I was at WKA Manufacturers Cup Series at GoPro. You were at Texas Pro Kart Challenge. I was at USPKS the next weekend in Ocala, and then you were at Challenging America's finale in Sonoma. So we got those race reports up. We got the Florida Winter Tour finale report up. Obviously, the RTX Karting's All-Star Finals from Speed Sports in Texas. That race report is up as well, along with the inaugural return of the SCUSA Great Lakes Pro Kart Challenge. That race report is up as well. So a lot of racing going on in that month that we've been away from This Week in Karting. Not to mention a new driver of the month. So the month of March, welcome Connor Zillage as our driver of the month for that particular section of the year. And then you put out a industry insider with Sean Bailiff of Trinity Karting Group. Great little piece there to kind of get people aware of the grassroots program that he really has developed in not just providing a race team, but driver development as well, too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The fantastic program based out of the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, and Sean Bailiff and that Trinity Karting Group, they support a bunch of programs. Their primary focus, of course, on the KRA series, the club series at Newcastle Motorsports Park, but they were at the SCUSA Great Lakes series. They're potentially going to do some USPKS stuff. They're looking around at different races to go to and really want to, of course, get out to the Super Nationals in November, but they will be at the Summer Nationals at Newcastle in August. You, however, have been busting your butt on the Briggs and Stratton Racing weekly racing series profiles, and I believe you're done. Did you take a big sigh of relief?
We wrapped it up on Friday with our last one with Eric Fagan as the overall top points getter. So we're done with that. Now we can get into some more different editorials that we'll be working on over the next few months before the busy summer months hit us again. And then, of course, we opened up the driver rankings for 2019 season, powered by Bell Racing USA.
One of those really easy things that don't take any time for you.
Again, that takes more time than probably the profiles do. Yes,
I know. It's one of those deals that, you know what, if we just didn't do it, it would free up so much time for you, but we get a lot of great feedback on it. I think people really enjoy it. It does take a ton of time. It's a pretty intricate spreadsheet, David, and we'll give you props because and you know what? Talk about it a bit in a second, but I'll give you props. It does take a lot of work. People have no idea how much time it takes you grabbing all those results, updating the spreadsheet that you put together. But a bit of the tag program is pretty much locked and loaded, but a bit of an evolution for what is now the shifter cart category of the driver rankings.
It's nothing new for us. We've kind of had the driver rankings kind of shift in different directions. We had basically, I think it was just it was Shifter Card Illustrated. It was just top drivers, period.
Yeah, it was just top drivers and 125 shifter because that's all we had. Right?
So, it kind of went from that into ICC. We followed ICC and ICA when they were kind of going at the same time.
Yeah.
And then we moved the shifter category over to Stock Moto. So we've done that for a number of years, and now it's kind of opened up again to provide an opportunity. Obviously, with the Superkarts USA moving over to the 175 engine that they have, it's kind of had to open up things again. So it provides us the opportunity to throw in the Rok Cup USA events, KZ classes at certain programs like F Series that just happened this weekend, and just kind of open shifter classes that people have. King of the Streets is back on with the driver rankings again. So, Rory Vanderster didn't get any points last year for his win at King of the Streets, but now it's back. It's back on there. Yeah. So
good stuff.
That definitely provides us a little bit more talking opportunities, because again, it's not just focused on Superkarts USA anymore. It's really opened up the opportunities for people to come in and score a lot of points at different events.
We'll see how it all shakes out. David, of course, will be adding those results, and we'll try to get a mid-season ranking update
once a month.
Late season. Yeah, you think once a month?
Yeah, well, that's easy. Yeah, once we got through this winter program of not updating any results, I can sit down and do a couple hours to update a month easy. So.
Copy. There you go, folks. David Cole committing to the driver rankings for you. Well done. Let's talk about the EKN. Let's review some of our EKN podcasts, because we've had some recent shows, and again, that's what I'm talking about. The first opportunity to listen to any of our content streaming on the EKN radio network, and you just pick it up. You can't stop it, start it. It's just a radio network. Put it on your phone. Plug it into the jack on in the car when you're driving to work, when you're coming home, whatever it may be. Great way to just kind of jump back into karting if you're bored with the radio. But then David then takes, of course, all the content, turns it into podcast form that becomes available on iTunes and Google Play. So make sure you subscribe, whatever your platform is. Subscribe to get the podcast. Make sure you leave us a nice review as well in there, because that always helps with the ranking. But David, we put a bunch of different podcasts out. You spent the time, got it together, and got those loaded up.
Well, obviously, it's been a month since we taped This Week in Karting. So that episode from March 20th is up there on podcast form. Our Industry Insider with Mark and Gina French from Texas Pro Kart Challenge, that's available. All the EKN debriefs we did with WK, Texas Pro Kart, USPKS, and Challenge in America, those are all available. And then coming up this week, we got Operation Grassroots with KPX Karting Championship, along with the Operation Grassroots with Cup Karts North America. So that's coming up this week. So all of it is able, just subscribe to whichever podcast form you like with either Apple or Google Play or all the different, or even get on our Podbean and subscribe directly to that as well.
I think we're on Spotify
as well too. Yes.
We're on Spotify as well. We haven't marketed that too much. We'll do more of that. Again, as David said, putting a lot of podcast content out for you on the EKN Radio Network. Again, our 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's our channel, the only karting radio station in the world. I'm, as I said before, trying to line up an Industry Insider podcast with Terry Trader from the Quincy Grand Prix. I got to find some time to get another book. And I got a couple people that I want to hook up with. And one of the ones we talked about getting Lynn Haddock, and it's hard to find Lynn. You got to get him trackside because I'm not sure we could do it with him at home. I want to talk to Sabre Cook, one of the persons I want to talk to. We're planning on having a chat with Gary Carlton as well. If you have some people that you think you'd like to see on the Book It podcast, my podcast, do me a favor, send me some information anywhere through any of my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Send me some information. Tell me who you think we should have on the Book It. David, let's wrap up this edition of This Week in Karting by talking a little bit about what's coming up on ekartingnews.com and potentially pretty much the EKN live stuff, because really what's coming right now, once we get this done, you're going to get this up. Our focus kind of turns on SCUSA Pro Tour, Spring Nationals, Utah. That's the next thing really in our target. Let's say that.
Well, that's up this weekend. So we're going to be heading to Utah Motorsports Campus in Erda, Utah for the 10th edition of the SCUSA Pro Tour Spring Nationals. So we're going to be focused on that this week. We're going to have the 2 previews coming up Wednesday and Thursday. And then 2 weeks later, my focus turns towards the WK Manufacturers Cup Series, May 17 through 19 at the C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin.
Little bit jealous that you're getting to go to Road America.
Seekins, baby.
Well, again, only jealous enough the fact that I'm going to be at Indianapolis for pole qualifying for the 500. That should be fun. I'm looking forward to that. But yes, you're going to have some fun up at. You know what? I just want to get your report on what you think of the track. You need to take your helmet and everything with you to try to drive something when you get up there on the Friday.
I think I can work on that. I'd like to get your feedback. Work on that. Yeah,
you should. I think you need to work on that because they repaved the track at Road America at C-Tech Manufacturing Motorplex. I just think it's a great venue, right? You're inside of the Hurry Downs, which is what turn, is it 7? No, 6 is top of the hill. Turn 8, right? Yep. Hurry Downs coming down the hill, right? You know, you pit inside the carousel, leading into the back part of the racetrack. I just love Road America, and I love that kart track, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun for sure. I think,
and there's probably I'm going to say there's probably less than 50 people who have actually driven both the big track and the sprint track.
You're probably right. Yeah, you're right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that caps things off. So, as David said, we will be racing this weekend. EKN Trackside Live coverage of the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Spring Nationals. The coverage is going to be presented by the Rawlson Performance Group, Courtney Concepts, and Croc Promotion USA. They're our broadcast partners for the weekend. Otherwise, that wraps things up. David, are you ready to go? You're not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go.
I'm ready. Let's go. Once I get these previews done, I'm ready to go.
True enough.
In-N-Out Burger, Utah.
We
get to see picturesque mountains.
There's a couple of burger places we're going to hit on. I talked to Terry. Terry Bobby's going to come up for a visit. So that's cool.
In-N-Out.
Well, that's happening. Yes, I know that's happening for sure. But I'm told Crown Burger is kind of like a legendary Utah place, and Lucky 13, we're told, is probably the best burger in Salt Lake City. So
just give me some In-N-Out, and I'll go to wherever else you want to take.
Simple man with simple pleasures, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the best color man in karting for nothing.
Let's go.
We're going to have some fun with our coverage too, folks. Dial into it. We're going to do some Instagram Live, some Facebook Live throughout the weekend. We hope you enjoyed the coverage, again, of these SCUSA Spring Nationals. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. This has been This Week in Karting. Bye for now.